The fringe belt was where careers went to die. Cale Draven knew this better than most. Once a promising engineer aboard the Terran Coalition's flagship Ascendant, he now drifted through the debris fields of forgotten wars, salvaging what he could to keep his battered hauler, the Rust's Mercy, from falling apart completely. His exile had been swift and merciless. A whistleblower who exposed corruption rarely received medals, only a one-way ticket to the outer darkness. 3 years later, Cale had learned to survive on scraps, both literal and metaphorical. Today's haul looked promising. His scanner had picked up a derelict cargo pod tumbling through the asteroids near the Cathera expanse. No transponder, no distress beacon, just dead metal waiting to be claimed. According to salvage law, if it wasn't marked, it was fair game. Cale maneuvered the Rust's Mercy alongside the pod, magnetic clamps securing it with a satisfying thunk. Through the viewport, he studied his prize. The pod was ancient, its hull marked with symbols he didn't recognize. Definitely not Terran, not Krill, not even Vexian. The metal itself seemed to shimmer with an iridescent quality that made his eyes water if he stared too long. Probably radioactive, he muttered, pulling on his environment suit. Story of my life. The airlock cycled and Cale floated into the pod's interior. His helmet lamp cut through the darkness, revealing rows upon rows of what appeared to be scrap, twisted metal fragments, crystalline shards, broken machinery of unknown origin. It looked like the contents of a cosmic junkyard had been compressed and sealed away. He began cataloging the haul, his practiced eye separating valuable salvage from worthless debris. Rare earth metals, possibly. Some kind of crystalline power cells, definitely worth something. He was knee-deep in scrap when his boot struck something solid. Cale brushed away the debris, revealing a spherical object roughly the size of a human head. It was perfectly smooth, made of the same iridescent material as the pod's hull, and covered in intricate geometric patterns that seemed to pulse with a faint inner light. "What are you?" he whispered. The moment his gloved hand touched the sphere, it activated. Light exploded from within, not harsh but warm, like sunlight through amber. The patterns on its surface began to rotate, faster and faster until a voice emerged from the sphere itself, not through speakers, but directly into his mind. Consciousness detected initializing revival protocols, designation Irea 9, status, dormant for 47,382 cycles. Query, who awakens me? Cale stumbled backward, his heart hammering. What the? I'm Cale Draven, human, Terra, what are you? Human. The voice carried a note of surprise, relief, impossibility. Records indicate humanity at primitive stage, technological adolescence, yet here you stand. Time has passed indeed. You're an AI, Cale breathed. An ancient AI, correct. I am Irea 9, core intelligence of the predecessor civilization, last of my kind, sealed away when the great silence fell. This pod, my tomb, and my hope. You have opened both. Cale's mind raced. The predecessor civilization was a legend, whispered about in academic circles and conspiracy forums. The galaxy bore traces of something that had come before. Impossible structures, ruins that defied physics, technology that couldn't be reverse-engineered. But no one had ever found proof they truly existed until now. Why were you sealed away? Cale asked. We faced an enemy we could not defeat, not through force. The Harvesters, entities that consumed consciousness itself. They swept through the galaxy like a plague. We predecessors made a choice. We scattered our knowledge, our essence across the cosmos in pods like this, hoping that when new civilizations arose, they might succeed where we failed. And the Harvesters? Dormant, waiting, always waiting, but my awakening, it will send a signal. They will know consciousness has returned to this sector. Cale felt ice in his veins. How long do we have? Unknown, days, weeks, but they will come. Cale Draven. And when they do, your galaxy, unprepared, fractured, warring amongst itself, will fall as we did. The outcast scavenger looked at the glowing sphere in his hands, then at the scrap-filled pod around him. He understood now. This wasn't scrap. This was a library, a weapon, a warning. Unless we prepare them, Cale said quietly. You understand, but you are one human, an outcast by your own admission. Who would believe you? Kyle smiled grimly. That's the thing about being an outcast, Area 9. I've got nothing left to lose. And I know people, good people, who were cast out for speaking truth to power. We're not part of the system anymore, which means we don't have to play by its rules. He secured the sphere and began loading the pod's contents onto his hauler with renewed purpose. Each piece of scrap was potentially a piece of predecessor technology, waiting to be understood. You would take this burden, knowing it may destroy you? I was already destroyed, Kyle replied. This gives it meaning. Over the following weeks, Kale reached out to his network of exiles and outcasts. Scientists drummed out for uncomfortable discoveries, pilots blacklisted for refusing immoral orders, engineers who'd asked too many questions. He showed them Area 9. He showed them the proof, and they believed. The Terran Coalition ignored his warnings. So did the Krill Hegemony and the Vexian Compact. The powers of the galaxy were too busy with their territorial disputes to heed the words of outcasts. But humanity had always been good at one thing: adapting, surviving, rising from the ashes. When the harvesters finally arrived, emerging from dark space like nightmares given form, they expected to find civilizations as scattered and vulnerable as the predecessors had been. Instead, they found humanity united not by governments, but by a network of outcasts who'd spent months preparing. They found predecessor technology reverse-engineered and weaponized. They found Area 9's knowledge distributed across 1,000 ships, 1,000 minds, impossible to silence completely. They found resistance. Kale Draven stood on the bridge of what had become the flagship of humanity's desperate defense, still called the Rust's Mercy, though it now bristled with technology that would have seemed like magic 3 months ago. Area 9's sphere pulsed beside him, their minds linked, coordinating the fleet. You have awakened more than just me, Kale Draven, Area 9 observed. You have awakened your species. No, Kyle said, watching the battle unfold in the void. They were always awake. They just needed a reason to stand together. The galaxy would remember this day, the day an outcast found hope in scrap and turned it into salvation.